One of the worst and most controversial events in Northern Ireland's Troubles was the bombing of McGurk's bar on December 4, 1971. The attack took place at a Catholic-run pub in Belfast. It killed 15 people and hurt 17. Initially, the British Army and the Royal Ulster Constabulary, or RUC, claimed that the Irish Republican Army, the IRA, was responsible for the blast. On the other hand, subsequent studies and new evidence revealed that Loyalist paramilitaries likely carried out the attack. This in-depth look at the bombing's historical background, its events, the investigation, what happened afterward, and its long-lasting effects looks at all of these things. To fully understand McGurk's bar blast, it is essential to examine the more significant historical background of the Troubles. The Troubles were a violent political strife in Northern Ireland from the late 1960s to the late 1990s. There had been political, religious and social differences for a long time between the Protestant Unionists, who wanted Northern Ireland to stay part of the UK, and the Catholic Nationalists, who wanted to join the Republic of Ireland. This led to the Troubles. Catholics faced discrimination in housing, jobs and government participation, which angered people and led to the start of the civil rights movement in the 1960s. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, bloodshed grew dramatically and armed groups formed on both sides. The Provisional Irish Republican Army, or IRA, used violence to try to end British rule in Northern Ireland. Loyalist paramilitaries like the Ulster Volunteer Force and Ulster Defence Association wanted to keep Unionist control and fight Irish nationalism. In 1969 they sent the British Army to restore order, but rebel paramilitaries quickly turned it into a target. A lot of attacks happened during that time and they were based on religion. Both Republican and Loyalist paramilitaries attacked citizens. Attacks like bombings, shootings, and killings became regular, which made people afraid and suspicious. Violence was getting worse and ethnic tensions were growing at the time of the McGurk's bar blast. The attack on McGurk's bar was a terrible act of violence that shocked everyone in the area and showed how cruel the war was. McGurk's bar was a Catholic-owned pub on Belfast's North Queen Street. The Catholic community in the area liked to get together there, and the bar was known for its friendly vibe. On the evening of December 4, 1971, the bar was full of people, including couples and older people. A bomb set off by Loyalist paramilitaries outside the bar went off around 8:45 p.m. The blast caused the building to fall, locking many people inside. The explosion hurt 17 people and killed 15, including 2 children. The fact that both Catholics and Protestants were dead shows how random the attack was. A lot of people were shocked and angry about the bombing. Even though emergency services quickly arrived, the damage made it difficult to save anyone. The random killings and deaths of people left the town in shock. Many people were against the attack, and calls for justice and accountability got stronger. The probe into the McGurk's bar blast was tainted by debate and claims of bias, making people wonder whether the authorities were fair. The British Army and the RUC declared immediately after the bombing that the IRA was responsible for its own goal. They said it looked like the bomb was meant for someone else, but went off before it was supposed to. The news often repeated this story, altering people's perceptions of the attack. But quickly, proof came out that the killers were Loyalist paramilitaries. Before the blast, witnesses said they saw a UVF-related car in the area. Forensic evidence showed that the bomb had been put outside the bar, not inside as the own goal idea suggested. Even though there was proof against them, the police kept pushing the IRA story, which led to claims of a cover-up. People who lost loved ones initiated a movement to uncover the truth and hold those responsible accountable. They had to deal with big problems like opposition from the government and a lack of openness. Over the years, new proof and studies have come forward to back up the family's claims, but the whole truth is still hard to find. The attack at McGurk's bar had profound and far-reaching effects on the community and the Northern Ireland War as a whole. The bombing made ethnic relations worse and widened the gap between different groups in Belfast. The Catholic community perceived the government as targeting and betraying them, while the Protestant community faced accusations of involvement. The attack hurt the community deeply, and many families are still looking for justice and peace of mind. The blast at McGurk's bar showed how cruel the war was and how terrible ethnic violence is. It made the need for a political answer to the Troubles even more clear and added to the growing calls for peace and unity. The attack also made people wonder what the British Army and RUC were doing in the war and whether they were being fair when they looked into ethnic violence. The McGurk's bar bombing is still a significant event in the history of the Troubles. It shows how many lives were lost in the war and how hard it is to get justice and hold people accountable. It's a lesson in how important it is to deal with the effects of the past and make the future more peaceful and open to everyone. The bombing at McGurk's bar was a terrible and controversial event that showed how awful things were in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. At first, the attack, which killed 15 people and hurt 17 others, was put on the IRA. However, later investigations revealed the involvement of Loyalist paramilitaries. There was a lot of debate and accusations of bias during and after the bombing, which made people wonder how fair the officials were. The families of the dead have fought for justice and responsibility, but no one seems to know the whole truth. Looking at this event in great depth, we can learn a lot about how complicated the Troubles were and how hard it was to make Northern Ireland peaceful and fair.